All right, let's start with Nigerian pilot Rivers crisis. We are liberated. Fubara urges Ijaw nation to join in celebration or celebrating the liberation of River State that he's enjoying now. Labour cautions federal government to stay away from workers' pension.
All right, first news also leading with Fubara's bold declaration. The paper says, "My enemies now sleep with eyes open," proclaims triumph in face of diversity. You also have other stories. A reps approved bill to expand appeal court bench from 90 to 150 judges.
Standard Times, Ondoguba Governor Ayedatiwa remains our candidate. 7 APC governorship aspirants declare. And you also want to look above the masthead. Kwara, wife seeks divorce over husband's gambling habit.
Leadership Friday, APC chairmanship is the lead story here. It says search for Ganduje's replacement begins. Not central governors working to get competent hand. CPC camp likely to get slaughtered. The presidency's silence worsens embattled chairman's travails. Okay, let's look at no plans to use pension funds illegally. Federal government replies, Atiku, I suppose. Go ahead.
All right, this Nigeria, 227 terrorists snuffed out, 529 others nabbed, says the HQ declares Halilu Buzu, other alleged terrorism ringleaders wanted. You also want to look at Ondo Edo, ensure polls don't turn into theater of blood and violence. INEC chairman Yakubu urges security agencies.
The Daily Sun bold headline, terrorist Lord Buzu wanted dead or alive. Defense headquarters goes after him over killing of 19 in Katsina, Zamfara. Troops kill 227 insurgents, arrest 529 and rescue 253 hostages. Okay, Senate holds debate on electricity tariff hike, knocks NERC discourse on page 9.
Nigerian News Direct looks at account enrollment. Court validates CBN's regulation, permits collection of customers' social media handles, dismisses concerns, says social media handles not protected by privacy rights. Financial institutions declared to collect social media handles for KYC. Edo elections, INEC to commence distribution of 373,030 uncollected PVCs.
The Daily Independent, banks can demand social media handles of customers, court rules. Emirates returns to Nigeria after 23 months. Electricity tariff increase as Senate steps down. Committee's investigative report indicting federal government.
People's Daily, reps move to probe daily increase of prices. State of medical research asks federal government to suspend further introduction of GMOs. You also want to look at that. Senate approves establishment of commission for Northwest on page 15.
Okay, how is the Nigerian Express leading this morning? 18 travelers crushed to death, another very cheering one, as trailer rams into bus at police checkpoint in Abia State. Sad one there. CJ reassigns corruption case against Ganduje, others to new judge. Page 15 captures the details.
Nature News says Gombe government commits 1 billion naira to Asrail Cell project. And there you also see that NIMET climate prediction. Don cautions farmers against early planting, and that's on page 5.
And nature is actually playing out on that paper.
Absolutely.
Everywhere green. Okay, we look at Nigerian Tribune. NLC, TUC kick against federal government's plans to use pension fund for infrastructure. Alleges federal government already accessed 70% of fund. Details on page 5 of the paper. Fubara warns local government bosses. You may want to check out details on page 4 of the Nigerian Tribune.
This day looks at Wale Edu, no attempt to illegally use pension funds. And we also see there Tinubu hosts Senegalese president fire, and that's the picture story front page.
The Guardian, okay, legacy of waste is how it puts this big story captured on pages 4 and 5. Abandoned projects dot Southwest amid push of scarce resources to new ones, and then you have picture stories illustrating what it's trying to say with that big story. You have Senate stores debate against implementation of new electricity tariffs on page 8 of the paper as well.
And you see that the business Nigeria, federal government offers 12 new oil blocks to investors. You also see the NLCTC threatened to shut down dams over electricity price hike.
The business day, of course, we'll be looking at business stories. Resource-backed loans threaten Nigeria's oil economy. And then you have a deficient bill of lading. Knowledge gap hobble Nigeria's $4.5 billion non-oil exports. Dollar bond seen bolstering or battering Naira. You may want to check out details of that story. And of course, this is the last paper we will be bringing up this morning. Let's get in our reviewers now. Emmanuel Ezekin and Eze Ocha Nze. Should we start with Rivers State, really?
Absolutely.
Yeah, because many papers seem to lead with that this morning. We are liberated. This is how the Nigerian pilot posed the story. Fubara urges Ijaw nation to join in celebrating the liberation of Rivers State. Is enjoying now. He believes he's been liberated, but more importantly is the fact that there's a rollout of plans to celebrate or to, commission several projects that he has been able to put up in the face of economic crisis in the last 1 year. Who goes first? Emmanuel?
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yes, go ahead, please.
It's quite interesting. Developments in Rivers State yesterday. Two important events had. The governor had hosted the Ijaw Youth Congress, and secondly, he also flagged off an important 34-kilometer road project. Yes, many of us have reported the fact that he said we are liberated, but what is of interest to me, or what, especially my paper, what we played out was what happened at the commissioning of the road project, where he brought Senator John Azuta Mbata to flag off that project. Many people do not know, at least many people did not know until January last year, when Senator Mbata marked his birthday, and former Governor Wike led a delegation of his associates, including the PDP governorship candidate at that time, that is Fubara, to meet him. And there, Wike said that Mbata was his political godfather, was the man who made him local government chairman, and as a young lawyer, gave him his first briefs that gave him the first big money he had. Mbata had stayed back. If we remember Mbata, he was one of the most significant political actors at the beginning of the Fourth Republic. He was chairman of in fact, we used to regard him then as the powerful chairman of the Senate Committee on Appropriation. Very, very influential. He was one of those who led or instigated the removal of Senator Chuba Okadigbo, a very important political actor. He has laid back since, but he continues to weigh a kind of influence. So when yesterday you saw Senator Mbata identifying with Fubara, it was a loud political statement. In fact, Senator Mbata said it, that his presence there was a political statement. When I said Mbata, so it tells you the dynamics playing out in Rivers State. Virtually all prominent political actors have sided with Fubara against Wike, which is very, very pitiful, despite the landmark projects that man has done or he did in Rivers. You can even see political enemies clubbing together. You see Rufus Ada George and his Dr. Peter Odili, who had been estranged for some time, all coming together to back Fubara. So to me, it's a pointer. And you see the confidence with which Fubara is speaking these days. It tells you that the road has been cleared for him.
Indeed. Let me bring in Ezocha here. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, like Emma said, I just want to agree with him that the governor of Rivers State is getting the support from even the masses, not only the leaders or political leaders. And having seen what is going on in Rivers State, I think it's time for former Governor Wike to embrace peace. Emma used one word that he felt pity for Wike over this thing. I don't think he should be pitied, because you cannot mention Rivers in terms of development without Wike, former Governor Wike, and that is why. That is why he should retrace his footsteps and embrace peace. And if you look at all the past statements and videos of the former governor, you will now see why Fubara is, the present governor is getting the support he is getting here. He has severally said it, that he will not interfere. He doesn't like, even he castigated governors who allegedly interfered. And several videos of Wike saying another thing here, and what he's doing now is just the opposite. But it's time for him now to embrace peace. But there's one worry I have here is, bringing Rivers crisis to, bringing ethnic this thing to Rivers crisis. It doesn't. I don't think it will serve the state well. Governor Fubara should also advise. I also advise him to restrain himself from, this job push he's doing, because if you are looking at that, you are an Ijaw man and you feel it's time for the Ijaws or whatever, it shouldn't be like that, because there are also other ethnic nationalities in Rivers State. I think Rivers should be for Rivers. Whether you are Ikwere, whether you are Igbo, whether you are Ishekiri, whether you are Ijaw, whether you are Orobo or whatever, or Kalabare, it has always been like that. Sectionalizing it is not the best, but for sure, the governor is getting what he wanted. If they call it, if they call it liberation, fine and good.
Well, many will think those who are, like Emmanuel said earlier, that those who are actually supporting the governor now may actually be doing it not because they are against Wike, but because they believe that the governor should focus on developing the state, because when two elephants fight, is the grass that
Of
suffers
course,
at the
that
end
is
of
why I
the day.
say if the governor is given free hand, then development will come in. If the governor is not facing this fight, that fight, like last week we saw threats to demolish House of Assembly quarters, the House of Assembly complex has already been demolished. These are troubleshooting moves, which may not give way for development.
And without this crisis, really, one would have thought that probably Rivers would have been a bit better developed in this 1 year, even more than the project that is being commissioned for this 1 year anniversary. You think so? Do you think this crisis actually stalled the development of Rivers State a bit?
Undoubtedly, crisis stalls development. Yeah. But I don't think it stalls development. And you will see the demolition of the House of Assembly complex, which is a sore point in our in our democracy. I don't think it's something that should have been done. Whosoever is responsible, it's a setback. You know, that Rivers House of Assembly, it was one of the best in the country. One of the best. I think I happen to have passed it. I think it was built by Dr. Peter Odili. It was one of the best at that point in time. And so the crisis, undoubtedly, it's a setback in the course of development.
We also see that there has been mass resignation of commissioners. That was also on First News. Proof Wike hijacked Rivers government, and that's coming from the G60 lawmakers. I mean, when you have that mass defection, or rather, resignation, you would also want to wonder how this statement speaks volume, because you're wondering, why would people be resigning when the state is just clocking 1 year and talking about inroads?
Yeah, that is part of the crisis we are talking about. And I also believe those resignations were what informed the statement we have been liberated. Because if you look at the number of commissioners that have pulled out so far, about 7. The governor redeployed 2 and they resigned. 5 resigned this week. And they are all linked to the former governor. That is a very big message. I think that is what informed the world we have been liberated. But you see, resignation does not create any vacuum. Just like what happened in Imo some weeks ago, you see that the party did not waste time to replace those who have resigned. It's because when one leaves, another will definitely take over. And this is politics. I don't think the resignation will have any effect on the administration of River State because the governor will immediately replace them. And that has also opened the door and for others to get job. And you look at these people that resigned, you will also see that they have been on that seat for a long time. If you are a governor, a commissioner for 4 years, 8 years, why are you coming back? What are you coming back to do in a new government? You give way, let others also contribute their own. So the resignation to me, and it has been proved also because the governors have moved on.
Another story. Let's just go to another story, especially to another state. And I think it's sort of a similar, but this time it's talking about the gubernatorial, Ondo Guba. Governor Yedatiwa remains our candidate. That's coming from 7 APC aspirants declare. Yes, Standard Times has it, Emmanuel.
Please, as I add to that, I just wanted to make a parallel with what the resignations in River State with what's happening in Akwa Ibom State. Okay. You see, in the two states, the new governors inherited almost, in fact, in Akwa Ibom State, the new governor took over, inherited all the commissioners, all appointees, and they remain there till today. It tells you the level of maturity between the political actors in River State and in Akwa Ibom State. Akwa Ibom State governor
loyalty.
inherited all the commissioners, all of them, political aides, spokespersons, brought them back because he said he was part of that. They were the team that brought him to power. But why the difference in River State? So it tells you the kind of political maturity between the lead players in the two states. And I think caution should be brought to bear. Now you're talking about Ondo State. In Ondo State, I think we see the governor is stabilizing. And that's the Ayide Tua. You could compare what, just a few months ago, he was almost being thrown into the rubbish. And that should tell us that a day in politics is like 1,000 years. So people have to be more, you have to look forward. Just Fubara was telling the local government chairman yesterday that they should take caution, that they will soon leave office. So you don't know, whatever you do today, there's a tomorrow hereafter. Ayede Tiwa was almost thrown away, while in fact people were pulling the strings while he was deputy governor, and the other man was probably in coma or whatsoever. And the ordinary political aides were pushing him all around. But today, he has stabilized. The party chairman is firmly behind him. A majority of the political actors are behind him. So I think what is happening there it should be a lesson to political players, whatever it is, have a lesson that tomorrow is coming.
Okay, so it's really interesting because we want to get your view on that. Will you say he has stabilized? Don't forget that there are still other aspirants as well contesting for the seat.
Yeah, the man is leaving his name. He's lucky, and Ayeda Tiwa in Yoruba has something to do with my time has come or something like that.
What's in a name?
What
Those
is
days,
in a
remember
name?
the days of Good Luck Jonathan.
That's his name. And even his late principal hammered on it, that his name is pushing him up. So I think other politicians who have contested the election, though there were allegations that there was no primary, but it is a political party's way in Nigeria. I have not seen where any political party, but it is wrong. Because I know that even if you conduct a free and fair APC primary in Ondo, as against the allegation, I know the governor will also emerge. So why would you now go and do a shabby deal that has brought him to this?
Does it also have to do with his personal relationship or his dealing?
The thing there is, I think one of the aspirants has gone to court, but the party has also called the aggrieved aspirants together and urged them to embrace peace. You see, this thing is one person will go for one thing. I think it is either towards time. Let them give it to him. Let them allow peace to reign. Because with what is going on in, I know that Senator Jimo Ibrahim has gone to court. Olushola Oke is also rejecting the result. Kekemeke is rejecting the result and others. But it could have been one of them too. So let there be peace.
While one is enjoying this, one is having his seat being battled, and that is talking about the APC chairman. And he's also worried that, a national chairman, he's also worried that the president seems to be keeping mum of his travels.
Well, you see what is happening concerning Ganduje is quite interesting. Ganduje's seat, Ganduje got that chairmanship seat out of the personal patronage of the president. The president moved against the zoning permutations of the party to give it to him. But now, 2027 is reckoning, and it is the politics of 2027 we see. Those who know, those political actors are quietly moving to check President Tinubu. And Kwankwaso is a very important player in whatever that is likely to play out against the president. The president reckons with this. The opposition reckons with this. Because they believe that if they can get Kwankwaso, it will be a very difficult hurdle for the president to come back in 2027. And apparently, I don't believe that all these things that are happening to Ganduje, that the president is just, if the president really wants to back him, he will come out and say, this is my man. This remains the party chairman. But he hasn't done that. I've noticed this for months. I said, I am not saying that the president is directly pushing it, but he may have realized the president is human. He may have realized that he overreached himself in bringing Ganduje to become the party chairman. So I think the party and the actors in the APC are now pushing for a realignment, and Ganduje may have to bear a sacrifice.
If you see the rider to that story, I mean, it says the search for Ganduje's replacement begins. North Central governors working to get competent hand. The word there is competent.
you see, Adora, you see, political parties are the major problem. Leaders of political parties cause a very big problem in this country. We know that the fate, PDP's fate today, is caused by they are not adhering to the party's constitution. In 2023, during the 2023 election, I bet you if PDP had followed the provisions of their constitution, what they are passing through now may not have befell them. You see, in APC, give it to Ganduje. He is bringing transformation to the party. But the North Central are still kicking that it is their right and it is their turn. And it is their turn. If this thing called zoning is done, nobody should upturn it. You see, North Central, the national chairmanship of APC was zoned to North Central. And North Central, as at 2018 June, when the primary was conducted, they have produced two national chairmen. They had produced this former governor of Nasarawa State, Abdullahi Adamu. Okay, one, they have produced Abdullahi Adamu because of the events that happened during the 2023 election. Abdullahi Adamu was kicked out, alleging that he did not support the president, and Ganduje came in. But I also think that since the party sat down and agreed that this office should be zoned to North Central, I think the North Central should also have been given that opportunity to bring Adamu's replacement. And if you also look at it the other way, 2027 is coming out, like he said, and the politics is local. And the politics is you do with the person that has the number. I think that what is playing out now is based on the result of 2023 presidential election in Kano State. And if you look at the result, you don't need any soothsayer to tell you that Kwankwaso is the man. Because he pulled over 1 million votes as against APC. who got about 600 and something or 700 and something. So you see that if, as it's been rumored, if the president wants to, battle the northern oligarchy in 2027, he must get a crowd puller. He must get a man who is being respected by the Talakawas, so to say, who are the people that they use to vote and get these numbers. And that number, as far as Kano is concerned, as at this moment, unless any miracle happens on Ganduje's side, as at this moment, Kwankwaso is the controller of Kano. We also saw what played out during the governorship election. Even as the APC governorship candidate Gawuna was also, but Kwankwaso and his party, swept the thing.
All
so
right.
I think it's a game of who will give me what I'm looking for.
Okay, let's look at collectors of social media handles. Account enrollment, court validates CBN's regulation, permits collection of customers' social media handles, dismisses concern, says social media handles not protected by privacy rights. Emmanuel.
Well, that's something that has to be brought. Lawyers will have to examine, and because it's like an invasion of privacy. My social media handles for my bank to be going through it is going to be, a lot of us, that should inform us to be very careful on what we post on social media now. People have to be very, very careful. You have to be careful. If you go and post something, I know they pay, I know they do this. A bank can take it and look at it and re-examine your credit worthiness. But I do believe that lawyers are going to look into this and find the veracity for which the banks will examine the social media handles of their customers.
But if court has validated it already,
it can be appealed.
It can be appealed.
It will be appealed.
I also think that CBN is asking a lot from Nigerians instead of doing their what is facing them. Do you know how much is a dollar to is naira to a dollar right now? Those things are not troubling them. They are looking at how to control individual social media handle. They are looking at how to put cyber security levy. They are looking at things that will continue to cause more pains to people instead of facing the bigger challenges. And that also goes to, there's one story in the papers that Senate
step down.
steps down.
Steps down, yes.
Okay.
So
Electricity
you see,
report.
Senate steps down a committee report. And there was a rider there that the report indicted the federal government as NEC to stop implementing the killer 300% banded, and they have stepped it down.